Why Radical? We build race cars. We race iconic tracks. We set lap records. We build friendships.
3, 4.
We create champions. We make racers.
in 14th place, and they are followed by Robert Ridgway and John Benvalid, with Joshua Peters and Kenton Young 17th and 18th. 19th and 20th, Zippy, will be Richard Swindells and Robert Covey.
Well, there you go. Robert Covey closes out the top 20 with Christian Gritzko in 21st, with Cedric O'Hyan there taking 22nd. Nicholas Calander takes 23rd, with Michael Broomhead alongside in the 00 machine for 24th. Jeff LaRocque is in there in 25th, with Phil Nels alongside from Radical Academy in 26th. Chad Payton and Alex McLean in 27th and 28th, with Keenan Blades and Nick Collard closing out your top 30.
In 31st, Marie-Soleil Labelle, another one of our Radical Academy drivers, is going to start alongside Matthew Mailman for championship-leading team Lima Racing. And then we move through to Ivan Langeveld and Grace Hughes, another Radical Academy driver. Speaking of Radical Academy, one more in the form of Ella Martin in car 206. Mark Boyd joins her on the 18th row of the grid. And then we have Tyson Balbosa, Harry Sassi, and Corey Guedes rounding out our 39-car grid for this round of the championship. It's an absolutely packed grid, Zippy. Really love seeing as many cars as we see here today.
Absolutely, certainly a couple of little technical difficulties just there, and me having a little bit of a moment, but what an absolutely fantastic grid as well. I see 39 cars in total on the grid, so I gotta say, well said, Reese. Our best commentary ever, and nobody heard it. But ladies and gentlemen, it's all right. Not all of it is prime material, but I can say as well, congratulations, Pyro Productions. We just hit 200 subscribers, so whoever hit that button during the process of this show while you couldn't hear us, thank you for confirming that's what we need for this success.
Yeah, indeed. Fantastic stuff. And whoever you are, thank you. We really appreciate having Pit Road Productions get the numbers that it's doing at the moment. But we're getting ready for the drivers to pull away on their formation lap. This is going to be a very interesting sequence making their way through. Just need to, keep your eyes on the track, suss out the conditions, and make sure you get the best start possible. It's a pretty warm track, 34 degrees Celsius, so the tires should have no issues coming up to temperature.
Absolutely not, but still, it's not going to be instant. Certainly, these guys and girls, have got to keep that in mind. You don't really want to bring them in a little bit too aggressively. You want to kind of ease them in a little bit, and certainly, again, I think turn one, I'm hoping we don't see a parking lot, but I haven't ruled it out.
Yeah, well, I think it's going to be a grass parking lot, if anything else, because, VIR are very much an old school track, no tarmac runoffs here, so you've just got grass, potentially gravel on the sides of the racetrack. So plenty of space if a mistake is made, but you're not going to have much to slow you down before you hit the wall.
Yeah, definitely not. Some signs of grass can be considered almost like ice in some ways, but it's certainly going to be a good one. Certainly no surprises here to see Racine Vasui up on the front spot there as he pulls the pack of cars away, but I definitely think attrition is going to be a huge part of that. I've got to say, Michael Broomhead starting surprisingly far back. I honestly would expect more pace from the BIS founder there, but Marshall Crocker Jr., he's just outside the top 10 as well. I think he's going to be somebody to keep an eye on, but honestly, Joey Haynes, I can see great things coming from him. Asad Nakarnabeb as well, one of our younger drivers, all the way up in P8. I've got to say, absolutely stellar qualifying performance, but can he deliver when the race goes green?
Yeah, I'll be asking the same question of Cara Dudgeon as well. That was one of the things that all of you didn't hear before we got our sound issues sorted. Cara Dudgeon with a fantastic qualifying performance, only half a second off pole position in that Radical Academy car 305, the red, white and black machine you just saw there disappearing off the side of the screen. Looking forward to seeing how well she's going to do in a very competitive top 10.
Oh, absolutely. And one thing that's often underestimated here is, don't get me wrong, it's a pretty big grid, but I will to give you first-hand experience that most of these drivers, I would say I was a competent person in a Radical, but I can't stand even a slightest bit of a flame, not even an ember, to a good portion of this grid. So if you're watching at home, you see an person like this person's back in like 28, 30, or whichever, don't knock them, because believe me, to even run in this pack takes extraordinary talent.
Yeah, it's a very talented field here. You can definitely, if you were to hold a straight-up hot lap competition between these drivers, it would certainly be one of the most thrilling battles that you've ever seen. But we've got plenty of thrilling battles to come around this circuit. You know, they're just coming up to the Oak Tree section now, and you really get a sense for how narrow the track is at this point. This is one of some of the highest speed bends around this circuit. It's going to be very interesting to see, you know, how much space will be given on this opening lap. They do have the slow opening corners to really string everybody out, but I'm sure there's going to be some mistakes made, and some side by side on the first lap at least.
Well, I can say one mistake is the fact that, one mistake avoided even is the fact that I am not on the grid, ladies and gentlemen. Certainly I served my time driving in the BiS Radical Canada Cup, and it was decided I am much better off in the commentary booth. And, you know, I really think attrition is going to be such a huge thing on this thing, Reese. It's actually quite a long pace lap as well. But I've got to say, we're getting some beautiful potential photographs later. So if you are watching at home, ladies and gentlemen, or if you're taking part in the race, you happen to save the replay after, if you get any really particularly, you know, really good clips that you think are really good, by all means clip the YouTube video, send it over to me. If you want to send me the link, pitroadproductionsinc@gmail.com, you can send it to me there. You can post it up in the Discord. I want to see the bits that you guys enjoy the most, and certainly if you're on the track, you save the replay. If you get some absolutely fantastic photographs of your car in this championship, I want to see them, ladies and gentlemen. So just a little bit of audience participation there. Get more involved in the community, and we would very much like to have you on board with that.
Indeed. Have a look at this shot here coming down through Roller Coaster and Hog Pen. This is the end of the lap, which means the green flag is in the air, and they're going to have to wait a little bit before the green flag actually flies. It's a pretty long run to the start-finish line here out of the corners here, but Racine Fazui is already going, Zippy, and we have our green flag in the air. The race has officially started. Very, very good jump from our championship leader, Jamie LeVay, holding on to second spot. His teammate Andrew Hardman will keep third place. Cara Dudgeon up the inside of Matt Adams is going to protect fourth position as well. So pretty good start from our top drivers in the field.
Well, you say that. I believe Richard Swindells has had a bit of an incident. I've just seen him absolutely catapulting down through the order. Certainly, he's not got his good launch arm on the side of the car today. That turned out to be his face, ladies and gentlemen. But you can see here several people trying to make moves throughout the field. I'm not seeing too much movement yet, actually. In all fairness, there's a couple of people dropped down. But right now, currently up 5 positions is Nicholas Colander. Great job by him. Up 4 positions. You got Mike Broomhead. So those two there tied on the grid, but it's already making their way through the field.
It's the Radical Canada Cup's first race of 2025, so I think everyone's just getting back into the rhythm, as it were. It's been a bit of a break for this series, but Cara Dudgeon is getting no breaks, is off the circuit behind. That's someone who's gone off into the grass. Who's that?
Crocker Jr., Marshall Crocker Jr., the number 18 car. Your amateur leader has taken the scenic route, ladies and gentlemen, this time being endorsed by a lawn mowing company, taking it a little bit to the grass.
Yeah, looked like a bit of contact coming up into Oak Tree there for Marshall. We'll see what happened to him later, I'm sure. But, man, Cara Dudgeon is getting absolutely swarmed right now. She's back to 9th place and might be falling to 10th with the number 40 of Zach Buchanan getting alongside there into Roller Coaster. Dudgeon definitely had a qualifying lap down, but when it comes to the first lap, it seems everyone's just being a bit more aggressive than she'd like.
Yeah, but in all fairness, I don't think that's a bad idea by Dudgeon. You know what? Race scenario in this, especially in BIS, is incredibly competitive, and certainly getting the car up to temperature, getting the tyres up to temperature is a huge part of it. And you can already see there on the outside of turn 1, you kind of hung out to dry a little bit, but on the flip side, you're going to be on the inside. That was incredibly close, almost shutting the door there on, let me see, who was that there? Grease? I've lost him.
I've lost him too. I was looking at our battle for the lead, which is starting to close up as well. Jamie LeVay not letting Racine Fazui go at the front of this field, but regardless... Yeah, it was a little mistake from Robert Ridgway, I believe, who ended up going off at the left hook, unfortunately. So he has lost a couple of places out of that, but in the slipstream of John Benvalit and trying his best to hold on regardless.
Well, I've got to say, absolutely fantastic drive so far, and certainly Robert Ridgway doing everything he can. He also, you can see the Ridgway Racing setups. He's a very capable man when it comes to setting up a car, but it's not going to really help him in this league as the setups are provided. We'd like to keep it a nice, clean, level playing field, as Richard Hibbs has just made a move on Cara Dudgeon.
Yeah, certainly has. Dudgeon now back to 12th place, and oh dear, this is going to be some 3 wide here as Brady Clapham is going to try and get up the left-hand side. Oh, he's managed to find his way past Dudgeon, but Rich Hibbs had the inside there, and there's more smoke on the outside. Something's gone on there. Yeah, Sad Nakadambev and George Griffiths off the circuit there. There's some chaos here just outside the top 10.
For a second there, I thought the spectators had lit a barbecue, as I could see the smoke going into the air, as that is one of the Lima racing cars taking a little bit of a scenic route there. But Nakadambev, he's back out on the track. John Bembelet there trying to make a bit of a recovery. Obviously getting a little bit too hot, a little bit too spicy. Maybe take off a little bit of the hot sauce. As you see Ozzy Milwain now, he's going back at it. And Richard Hibbs, there's a pack of 4. There's Milwain, Hibbs, Clapham, and Nakadambev. That is the order there from, let me see here, 8th down to about 11th. And these guys very quickly trying to get back into single file. Don't get me wrong, you can fight at this track, but you've also got to try and keep an eye of not just the battle alongside you, but the battle ahead as well. If you start going side by side through these corners, particularly this section here, the time loss will be absolutely detrimental to your long-term race.
Yeah, they're flat-out corners, but the nature of them is such that if you go side by side through them, then you end up costing each other boatloads of time. So that's what the drivers are trying to avoid here. It's all about setting up the slipstream down Madison Avenue, the back straight, and the start-finish straight as well. So Ozzy Milwain here, leading the battle for 8th place, which goes all the way back to 21st if you count cars that are within a second of each other. Really quite interesting train here, and a little bit of a problem for, it actually looks like it might be Michael Broomhead. Yeah, Nicholas Colander actually is losing a spot there to Broomhead, and then to Christian Gritzko as well. Potentially a poor exit out of Oak Tree. Not working out too well for the number 5, but he'll stay in the fight, and he has the slipstream. Oh, Broomhead making a little bit of a slide there through Roller Coaster. It's so easy to lose the rear end around here.
Oh, absolutely. And that's a perfect demonstration of that. I believe Broomhead hasn't yet again become the ballerinas. We're just checking in with the pace car there. Bert Gerlander, he's currently away with Formula One. We have forgiven him for his absence in this occasion, but certainly a couple of incidents there. Broomhead taking the scenic route, and I believe something's happened with Marshall Crocker Jr. as well. I'm getting a notification for them. They're back in 29th, but oh my gosh, chaos happening throughout the field. I do also see as well that Robert Covey made a pit stop on lap 2, so potentially getting a little bit of damage repaired from an earlier contact.
Yeah, Asad Nakadambev also overshot turn 1 there, and he's fallen down even further to 16th place. So I think for a lot of drivers, it's a case of qualifying lap versus actual race pace, and potentially having to deal with a bit more fuel in the car and not quite finding that the car does what you want it to do. Well, these two have skipped away from the field. Racine Fazui and Jamie LeVay, they now lead the rest of the field by nearly 5 seconds. And Fazui is actually getting harassed quite a bit. LeVay has been threatening a pass every so often. He's been able to get alongside like here, but Fazui has been very aggressive in his defense. He's just demonstrating that now. He's making that the widest radical in Virginia right now.
Well, certainly, there was definitely no free space offered there. If he wanted to take rent in that piece of asphalt, then he was going to have to pay for it. And I've got to say, LeVay is doing an absolutely fantastic job. Nothing against Fazui, but he has really showed incredible domination here. So I'm actually rooting for the underdog in this occasion. Can the 444 machine actually manage to steal away a race win from Racine Fazui? The number 58 car having incredible success as he's gone by. There's a bit of a wiggle there. A little bit of correction there from LeVay. He manages to keep it on track. Shuts the door on Fazui, and the battle continues.
This is crazy racing between these two. That's fantastic stuff. They both made a mistake at roughly the same time. They ultimately keep the same positions they did, but you can tell this battle is going to go all the way to the end. Neither of them are giving an inch.
Oh, absolutely, and it's definitely going to be a lot of action there. There is battles happening throughout the field, though. I believe Nicholas Callander is going at it with Kenton Young as well. You can see Ozzy Milwain, he's still leading about, but there you go, Callander for Rust Racing, looking to make a move up on the inside of Kenton Young. Gets that done now. He's going to be a little bit of a slower exit speed as they head through this, I'm going to call it the rhythm section, ladies and gentlemen, because why not like that's how I see it when you go through. But anyway, that's obviously why I am commentating in the booth and not on a big stage doing music.
Of course. Rhythm is a really important aspect of racing here at VIR. You've got to prepare for every corner in advance, and you do get some opportunities to rest, but regardless, you have to be wary and waiting for your next opportunity to enter optimally. Well, Callander keeping Kenton Young behind him. Meanwhile, we switch up to the battle for third here. Andrew Hardman and Matt Adams battling for the final spot on the podium. Don't forget as well that the top 10 is going to be inverted for the start of race 2, so keep an eye on that P10. Currently it's occupied by Brady Clapham, and you never know, might see some runs from the drivers behind. Griffiths and Dudgeon standing a chance of catching up. I see Christian Gritsko as well falling down the field. It looks like there might have been a mistake there at Roller Coaster. Meanwhile, Clapham makes his way past Ozzy Milwain, and that's going to give Milwain the effective pole for race 2.
Well, definitely you got to decide how hard you want to fight. And don't get me wrong, P10 would be very nice right now, but you can't just slack back because George Griffiths is in tow, Current Dodgen right behind, Josh Peters, Ben Vliet, Ridgway. There is no shortage of people who are going to be claiming that top 10, or at least trying to put their foot on the ladder.
Oh yeah, there's going to be plenty of drivers who will want to sneak into that top 10 and maybe improve their starting position for the second race here tonight. Remember, this is the sprint. There's no pit stops. It's just a straight up race for 9 laps around here, and we're only going to have 3 to go when the leaders cross the line next, so not much time left to make your moves. Milwain catching up just a little bit there through the S's. You've got to be so careful coming down the hill here. There's basically no margin for error if you run a little bit too deep. And then this is Oak Tree Corner. Right there on the apex, there used to be an oak tree, and that's where the corner got its name, but unfortunately it was felled in a storm, and they had to say goodbye to it, unfortunately. Regardless, plenty of history around this place. It's one of the first dedicated sports car courses to be built in the United States, and they are really showing that this track is legendary because it produces moves like that.
Oh, absolutely fantastic move by Milwain. Honestly, I don't think he was going to have the real estate to get it done, but he certainly moved in, put the for sale sign on it, and claimed it as a sold within as short moments after, as Milwain regains that position from Brady Clapham and takes 10th. While this battle's been going on, George Griffiths has closed that gap. It was about a second before. Ladies and gentlemen, he's closed it down to about 0.3 of a second, so now Clapham is going to be heavily under attack from the number 25 machine.
Yeah, certainly is. They've caught up. The slipstream has always been strong in this Radical SR10 on the iRacing service, and the drivers take great advantage of that. But a big part of it is lining up the exit of a corner. That's someone in the wall. I think that might be Harry Sassi that's found his way in there. Otherwise, it might be Callander. Actually, I think it might be Nicholas Callander or Alex McLean, both of them falling down the order. Callander actually has suffered a big crash there in turn 1. So, okay, that was obviously a separate incident that I'd just seen, but Callander not having a great time down there at the first turn.
Well, don't get me wrong, these are open concept race cars, but he's really gone and he's ran with that. You can see there, definitely the car has some damage it takes to the grass. Perhaps we'll get a replay of that in just a few moments. I was literally just mentioning to our director there's a big battle going on for P20 and back, and a good chunk of them are no longer in that battle anymore, we'll say it like that. But you can see there is a, I believe these guys are doing La Cucaracha, but don't get me quoted on that. Certainly a little bit of a cha-cha slide wave action going on down the back straight, and you can see here, looks like Milwain's going to be trying to make another move, as I believe that's George Griffiths who's taking it ahead. No, that's Richard Hibbs. Richard Hibbs has come into the battle now, and Milwain looking to take that 8th spot away. Brady Clapham right behind, George Griffiths behind there, and Cara Dudgeon, a huge pack of 4, 5, 6 cars involved, all on the line for 8th place.
Indeed, and I mean, this battle is massive, but the battle for the lead is still going on as well. Jamie LeVay has been harassing Racine Fazui at every single opportunity as it's side by side here between The two cars at the front of this pack. Milwain trying to get back past Hibbs, but it's not working for the meantime. Got to keep the rhythm up through this section, through NASCAR Bend, the left-hander. Use all of the curb on the exit and then into the left hook. And keep your eyes peeled for those curves. They can really upset the car if you hit them in the wrong way.
Oh, absolutely. Certainly, they are to be flirted with, I guess, is the best way of putting it. I mean, you definitely want to make contact, but you certainly don't want to get a little bit too pushy because they will absolutely spit you out and send you off into the rhubarb. Don't get me wrong, I don't know if it's rhubarb or just grass here at VIR, but certainly you generally want to stay on the asphalt as they're heading down towards Oak Tree. And as this corner, I've got to admit, I've always struggled with, and it looks like Milwain trying to make a move on the inside there. A little bit ambitious myself. I'd be looking to try and stay behind, capture the slipstream, and slingshot past, but with a chain of 5-6 cars, I do actually see Brady Clapham potentially having a chance to make a move at the end, as long as he can stay in that drop. You can already see there, Milwain, he's looking to make a move up on Hibbs on the inside as we go, and we're looking back at Michael Broomhead right now for Britannia iSports. He's in a battle as well.
Oh yeah, a little bit of a crisscross attempted there. JF Larocque is the driver he's trying to get past, and well, the slipstream down the back straight will continue to be a big factor here, but the final lap has begun for our leaders, and they're crisscrossing through turn one. Jamie LeVay has gotten into the lead of the race.
Okay, but for how long? I do wonder if the tactical pass is going to be part of this, and oh dear. 76 here. I think that was Cara Dudgeon, actually. There's been a huge incident. Cara Dudgeon and George Griffiths have been gone. Grace Hughes is out. Ivan Van Langebelt is out. Something major has gone on. As you see, Cara Dudgeon taken to the pits. We'll get a replay of that in just a short moment. Oh, my gosh.
Oh. Okay, well, that's why she had to go into the pits. Some big damage there off the side of the car. Oh, bit of contact there with Griffiths, and Griffiths came back into her. Well, that's the dark side of having so much runoff through these corners. You're just unable to recover from a car sliding back onto the racetrack. Well, the battle is still going on here for the lead, but Racine Fazui has picked up a little bit of damage, and it looks like they were making their way past the lap car of Ivan Langeveld, and I don't think he'll be able to pass Jamie LeVay again unless he goes for an absolute Senna-style out-braking maneuver. He's got the slipstream. He's going to try and draw alongside in a roller coaster, and they've made contact. They're both off the circuit. Both LeVay and Fazui will have to try and make their way back onto the circuit, but Matt Adams is going to come through here, and he's going to take victory in the final couple of corners.
Hardman's making a run as well, so Hardman has managed to take second place, but Matt Adams for the Motor Racing Academy, or as Almeida's Academy, I believe it's called now, he's now taking a move, an absolute given. So these guys fighting hard to the end. Hardman steals second, Jamie LeVay is going to get third, Racine Fazui knocked off, literally off that top spot, takes fourth, Zach Buchanan in fifth. What an absolute belter of an ending.
Wow. Yeah, I could feel that coming from a mile away. You know, both Fazui and LeVay were pushing the limits, and I mean, they were trying their best to keep it on track, but it was going to erupt in some way. Speaking of eruption, Keenan Blades losing that last position in the top 20 with a bit of contact there from, I believe, Marshall Crocker or Nick Pollard. We'll have to wait and see on that one, but the last few cars now coming across the line. A very interesting finish to a scintillating race.
Oh, it was definitely a lively one, I gotta give you that. But VIR, honestly, fantastic place for racing, and you can see there a couple of the cars, they've finished the race and stopped pretty abruptly. In my hand, it's let's just say that in the real world, you know, you got to run it all the way around. iRacing's a little bit more forgiving, but we're going to try and get you a replay. I'm trying to think who was it that was behind. I believe it was Racine Fazui. We'll get on board from him, see exactly how it looked from his point of view as he tried to take that first place position back.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, LeVay was threatening for the lead the whole way, wasn't he? And Fazui, you knew that every time LeVay got by or alongside, Fazui was going to try and get it back. But hopefully we get that on board from Racine, and we see exactly how this went down. We're actually on board with one of the Lima racing cars here at the moment. Here we are. So Fuzui gets in the slipstream and then he tries out braking, but the way the track bends on the entry to roller coaster, you got to be wary of the car you're trying to pass getting back onto your line ahead. So that's exactly how things went down for Racine Fuzui and Jamie LeVay, as slipping through in the final couple of corners was Matt Adams. Well, we're in the warm-up session now, Zippy, which I think is a good opportunity to thank the sponsors that make this series possible.
You are absolutely right, sir. And let me see here. We're going to start off, obviously, with Radical themselves, so Radical Canada. If you're looking to own a Radical or feel the thrill of Radical racing firsthand, you need to contact Robert Burgess at Radical Canada to buy your own car or arrange a rental and drive in the excitement of Radical competition. Obviously, contact him to get more information on that. If you can't find the contact us at Pit Road Productions. We will be very happy to put you in contact with them.
Indeed, we will. FEL Motorsports is a premier real-world racing organisation that brings thrilling, high-stakes competition to tracks across Canada, supporting and showcasing talented drivers in professional motorsport series. Much like BIS, FEL provides a platform for racers to push their limits, recently announcing the exciting addition of the legendary Trois-Rivières event to their 2025 calendar. I love Trois-Rivières. For more information and to stay updated on the 2025 season, visit FEL's website.
Very nicely done there, Mr. Reese Gardner, ladies and gentlemen. And one of our sponsors here at BiS Radical Canada Cup is M-Zone, ladies and gentlemen. Now, you may have seen this on some of the products you use in the workshop as well, but M-Zone is a trusted brand in automotive care and maintenance, providing top quality products designed to keep your vehicles running smoothly and looking their best. I wonder if they do face cream for me at this point. I could do the help. Known for their performance-driven solutions. I couldn't even keep a straight face saying that. M-Zone shares BIS's passion for excellence, making them a perfect real-world counterpart in the automotive space. Discover M-Zone's full range of products and elevate your vehicle care by visiting their website. Well, huge thank you to our sponsors. Absolutely could not do it without you guys. And certainly some good quality products in there. Certainly M-Zone I've used personally. It's good gear, put bluntly.
Indeed. I don't believe you can get M-Zone products in Australia, so I'm not familiar with them myself, but regardless, it's excellent to have them on board as a sponsor of the BiS Radical Cup Canada. And, well, now we are in the warm-up between the two races, and one of the things we need to think about is that grid invert and also the pit stop. This is going to be a bit of a longer race, twice the length of the first race here. We're looking at 18 laps for this event, and I gotta wonder, how are you going to game the strategy from here? Because there is an opportunity to fuel save with how very I suppose I'm looking for the word, Zippy. I'm still not completely caffeinated yet. How strong the slipstream is. Why did it take me so long to say that?
Well, maybe it is because you are indeed in Australia. You are technically ahead of me in time, but certainly even with that little bit of advancement, the word strong took a little bit of time to come to you. And don't get me wrong, I feel for you, Reese, honestly. The amount of time, we've been doing this together for a while now, and the amount of times where I've been like, Reese, give me the word, will you? But you are 100% right. Certainly the slipstream is going to be a massive part of it, very provenant. Excuse me, I should whip out a dictionary for using such vocabulary, ladies and gentlemen. I almost wonder if I should start sounding a little bit more snooty in my English accent. So, ladies and gentlemen, you're going to see here that the driver's going to have to demonstrate excellent fuel management strategy.
Having a holly jolly time slipstreaming down the back straight.
I can't do it and keep a straight face. I can't say that.
All right, let's get back to talking about the event. My point was the slipstream is very strong, so it'll be easy to sit behind someone and save a bit of fuel. That can allow you to extend your first stint somewhat, or if you've decided to short fill in the pit stop, you can fuel save a bit in the final stint. But I don't know if there's any drivers here who'll be willing to try and pull something like that out of the hat.
Well, I've got to say, Reese, with there being no fast repair, the undercut does have a bit of merit. But with that slipstream, as you were saying, being so provident, Ladies and gentlemen, I don't even know if I'm using the word right. I just feel snazzy saying it, but my IQ must have just doubled. But I think that's part of it. If I was going to pit, honestly, I would want to make sure I have it's almost like having a partner with you. If you're going out in the bar or something, you want to make sure you don't go to the bathroom alone. Certainly not an issue for me. No one's ever been that desperate, but you want to make sure you have somebody go with you for that pit stop, because realistically you need to be out of slipstream. So the question comes: do you pit early and try and get the undercut? Maybe the traffic ahead of you feel it's slowing you down, but the slipstream, it can almost be a little bit misleading actually with that race. And I think you got to choose your battles wisely. Myself, the way I would approach this is try and find somebody who's of a similar pace, if not slightly faster, who can pull me along, pull me through not just the traffic, but help me save fuel on the way. If you've got a driver of the same kind of performance, you can just sit behind them and coast and then make a good couple of passes in the pits. A little bit more low risk, high reward strategy for you.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, I think what you're going to need is a draft buddy at the end of the day. And there's going to be plenty of draft buddies in this absolutely massive field. So we'll see how we end up going here as we go through the top 10, which have been inverted from race 1. Brady Clapham is going to start on pole position, finishing in 10th. Rich Hibbs is going to be alongside him on the front row. Ozzy Milwain and Joey Haynes are your second row, two BiS veterans right there. And they are joined behind by Diego Zuccarelli and Zach Buchanan from Project 2. Behind them, Racine Fazui, pole sitter for race 1, starting alongside Jamie LeVay. They've kissed and made up after that incident in race 1. No hard feelings between the two of them, just hard racing. So we'll see how they continue that here in race 2, as the top 10 are rounded out by Andrew Hardman and Matt Adams, our inverted top 2, Zippy. From there on back, they start basically where they finished in race 1.
So you got Joshua Peters there alongside John Beverly with Robert Ridgway and Assad Nakano-Bev. Cedric Hine and Kenton Young take up 15th and 16th, with George Griffiths and Mark Boyd there in 17th and 18th. JF LaRock in 19th, and Marshall Cocker Jr., not the race he was looking for, in 20th. As in 21st, we've got Nick Pollard alongside Christian Gritzko. Chad Payton and Phil Nails take 23rd and 24th, with Richard Swindell's having that rough incident at the start. He's in 25th alongside VIS organizer Mike Broomhead. As we have a look now, we've got Keenan Blades and Harry Sassy there in 27th, 28th. Matthew Mailman and Yvonne Langeville is your next row. And Marie Soleil Labelle and Grace Hughes there, the Radical Academy drivers, along with Cara Dudgeon as well. Definitely not the result they were looking for, with Robert Kobe as well. Nicholas Calando, we saw his car having a full frontal there with Alex McLean alongside. Ella Martin there alongside Tyson Barbosa. And I almost feel, and Corey Grades at the end there, ladies and gentlemen, with the Pit Road Productions paint. Well, that's accurate. yeah, for sure. I'll tell you what, Tyson Barbosa and Corey Guedes, neither of them even took the start in race 1, and I don't expect they're going to be doing the same here in race 2. So I guess Corey Guedes is following our lead and staying up in the booth, so to speak. Oh, these guys are getting ready to go under the way. Reece, tell you what, why don't you talk us through, who's going to be your hot pick very quickly for this race?
Well, I'm definitely expecting Fazui and LeVay to try and fight their way through the top 10 here, if they can stay out of each other's way, that is. We've got to keep an eye out for Matt Adams as well. I mean, he didn't put himself in the position to win race 1 for nothing. He was gifted those final 2 positions thanks to the incident between Fazui and Lavelle. But regardless, he wouldn't have been able to take advantage in the first place if he didn't work his way up there. So I'm looking forward to seeing what Matt Adams can do in this race. I am expecting that Clapham and Hibbs are going to be really on the defensive, trying to keep these guys behind them as best they can. Our Radical Academy drivers are pretty much all together outside the top 30. We'll see what Cara Dudgeon in particular is able to do. It's really awesome to have the Radical Academy drivers on board with us, all-female team supported by Women in Motorsport and Radical Canada. So hopefully they can all get a good result out of this one. Regardless, I think Dudgeon's going to be the one I'm watching the most, because she was clearly the quickest on pace.
Oh, she had absolutely fantastic pace race, certainly an absolute belter of a qualifying lap. Certainly, it's good to see such a huge improvement as well, especially, and we do have the Radical Academy looking forward to. That's going to be coming here on Tuesdays very shortly here at Pit Road Productions. But I've got to say, you know what, I can see Ozzy Milwain and Joey Haynes doing very, very well in this. Certainly, Zach Buchanan, certainly not somebody to be counted out. He was both him and Milwain with the Pro and Amateur Championship contenders and winners indeed last season round. So certainly they've had the experience of driving a real Radical, and I certainly can imagine they'll be wanting to repeat that experience and take the wheel of one of the cars of Radical Canada.
Yeah, absolutely. I reckon this is going to be a very interesting race. It's much longer. There's a bit more strategy to work your way through. But regardless, you have to put yourself in the right position to take advantage at the end. And if you don't, then you're going to suffer on the points front. I believe that both races give the same points. Is that correct?
Sure.
Or does race 2 give more points? I wanted to try and make the point that, one race might be worth more than the other. But, regardless, you want to get a good result in both races to improve your championship standing. We're only going to have a few more rounds after this one. And I mean, you want to talk about tracks that are hard to pass at. Barber Motorsports Park is going to be an absolute hard slog when it comes to passing. But we've still got 18 laps of Virginia International Raceway to complete before we can even start talking about that, Zippy.
Oh, absolutely. And I think this is going to be one of the races of the season for me, certainly. It is on the Princess Approved track list, as I call it, and it's one of the ones that oh, no, really? We've already got an accident on the pace lap.
Whoops-a-daisy. That's not going to work things out too well for the drivers further back in the field, but up at the front, the pace car is in, and the starting lights are up. Barney is holding the green flag in the air, and Brady Clapham is going to hold them much longer than Racine Fazui did in race 1. It's going to be a very packed field coming into turn 1 here as the green flag flies, and we are away into the first turn. Clapham will defend the inside from George Griffiths, who's a lot later on the brakes. And all right, here we go. They're already starting to get into each other through the first turn.
Well, certainly I do expect it to be a little bit spicy here. We know Racine Fazui is going to be keen to try and make some moves. As I could have sworn they're free wide for a second there. Those guys, they've already battled and took each other out in race 1. I'm willing to bet they don't want to do it for a second time. But as LeVay makes his way through, Matt Adams, he's hanging back a little bit. Oh, no, that's a spin. Diego Zuccarelli, he's gone off. He's been caught by the cold tires as the number 26 machine absolutely plummets through the field. And now very, very difficult to get rejoined. But I've got to say, quality rejoin there from Zuccarelli as we're back on board now, I think, with Zachary Buchanan. Currently on a scenic camera, ladies and gentlemen. A huge thanks to our marshals here. And there we go, back with Zach Buchanan. He's currently riding in 5th place. And Racine Fazui right behind him, already applying the pressure there. You can see the lead pack already in single file. Fazui getting an absolutely fantastic draft. But I've got to say, I don't envy him in this situation. Buchanan is not going to hand that position over without a fight.
No, certainly not. Christian Gritzko also having an issue. He gained some damage on the first lap and pulled off and escaped back to the pits. Buchanan unable to find his way up the inside of Fazui. They're coming into roller coasterers. That's a problem for Richard Hibbs. He's falling down the field, so that promotes Ozzy Milwain and Joey Haynes onto our podium.
Yeah, I do believe Joey Haynes does not have a partner called Jody Haynes, but if you, if we do get the family tree involved, we're happy to confirm that. As you can see here, Joey Haynes doing everything he can, posing for the photo as well, we might add, and certainly was looking to get him actually for Daytona 24-hour, but he's...
Oh, no!
That's Milwain.
Oh, it is Milwain sliding off at turn 1, just overshot the braking zone a little bit. No anti-lock brakes on the SR10, so you've got to be careful on the brakes here. Almost 3 wide for the 6th place there. LeVay trying to keep Matt Adams and Assad Nikadenbev behind him, and they're both side by side through the hooks. But Nikadenbev will lose out to Adams ever so briefly. Man, already some big changes happening up the front of the field.
Well, I've got to say, it's looking very good for Brady Clapham right now. He is doing absolutely fantastic in the amateur class, currently resting in third place. Asad Karnabev, the next competition, he's 5 places back. And John Bemble is sitting there in 10th. So certainly the Pro Series doing very much asserting their dominance a little bit here today at VIR.
And Racine Fazui has worked his way into the lead over Joey Haynes as well. Got that move done at the end of the S's, so I'd be expecting Fazui to try and break away from here, but needs to keep an eye out for the slipstream. As we've been saying all night, very strong, as we see Milwain now pass Zach Buchanan on the way down the straight. Trying to follow him through is Jamie LeVay, who's got some distance between himself and Fazui now. Oh, not the first time that LeVay has had some challenges coming through roller coaster, but by the time they get to Hogpen, he'll be ahead.
And you can see Zachary Buchanan is definitely not the most thrilled there. Took a lot of curb. I thought that was going to upset the car potentially, but you got to make sure you keep your head in the game when you're driving these cars. You've got to focus, and certainly, you know, there can be moments where, you know, things get a little bit tight, and you've just got to try and remove the red mist. And ladies and gentlemen, again, another reason why I tend to stay in the commentary booth. I'm a very passionate individual, and certainly the red mist can become a thing. As you can see there, going around turn 1, he's able to try and sneak back up onto the back of the number 14 of Ozzy Milwain. You see LeVay's managed to get a move done, but you can see Buchanan going left, taking a lot more curb there than Milwain. He's using all of the track limits, hard on the brakes as they're getting ready to go round onto this back section.
Yep, through the initial section of the S's, you're flat out at this point, but as you can see, Buchanan had to scrub the fronts there to get it turned in for the right-hander, and so he's lost out early on that brief little straight between that set of S's and this one that goes up and over the hills. A beautiful section of racetrack this. Well, Brady Clapham is keeping himself nicely in touch with Joey Haynes, as Racine Fazui is starting to break away as I predicted. Fazui already has the fastest lap of the race so far, 1 minute 40.7. That's over a second faster than Joey Haynes' last lap. So we'll keep an eye out for Fazui to continue on there. He's used to being up in front and jetting away from everyone else. The class driver of this championship so far. It looks like it's going to be a race for the runner-up thus far.
Well, certainly Fazui has indeed coached people such as Suelio Almeida. I believe he's coached him as well. So definitely, you know, very competent individual. But I got to admit though, there is battles happening throughout the field. I can see Joshua Peters and George Griffiths. They're in a little bit of a pack actually. You can see them there as we're looking at Robert Covey. Now he's certainly raced here with BIS for some time, and I believe that is Robert Ridgway right ahead of him. And Covey, a man after my own heart, not always got the best qualifying pace, but when it comes to racecraft, he is very strategic in where he will place that car. And almost from this angle looks as if he's running a Union Jack. Sorry there, Robert. But, you know, you can see he's there. He's putting a little bit of sniff on the inside, a little bit of a lockup there. Actually, that's a bit more than a lockup. A lot of smoke. You see a car off the track. Covey backs out of it, and I believe that's Nicholas Colander ahead of them.
Yeah, indeed. Marshall Crocker Jr. and Nick Pollard at the front of this battle, and there's a crash, and Covey very wisely backing out of it and picks his way through. He's just gained 3 whole positions out of nowhere.
And I thought buy one, get one free was good. Robert Covey getting 3 positions for absolutely 1 corner. Fantastic move, cool, calm, and collected. As we see here, Robert Covey currently actually most positions gained, tied with Colander. As I say that, Colander's gone side by side with Nick.
Oh, no!
Look like a bit of contact. And are they going to come to blows yet again? Colander emerges victorious from that battle, but certainly, definitely, and not a place you want to be. Sorry, Alex McLean there. Not a place that you want to be side by side.
Jamie LeVay, meanwhile, has worked past Joey Haynes for second. The battle for second place has really heated up while we were looking at that battling further back in the field, just inside the top 20. Well, Joey Haynes now back to 3rd place, and Brady Clapham losing 2 positions then. 3 positions, sorry, thus far in this race. And they still have to keep an eye out for Buchanan, Adams, and Hardman right behind them. Milwain now trying to find his way past Clapham. Brady, I think, is being very intelligent about this. Obviously, these drivers are all quite aggressive around him, and if one of them goes to make a move, he's not fighting it too hard. I think in this longer race, car preservation is the name of the game.
Absolutely, certainly. If you get a little bit of damage to that splitter, you will start to feel that, not just in the handling, but on the top speed of the car, and also on the fuel economy as well. Certainly, a little bit of damage can have an adverse effect on fuel, and suspension damage can also have an effect on tires as well. It's made. So you get a little bit of a knock on left front corner, and it bends the wheel slightly. That could be almost, imagine that you have the feet of a penguin, ladies and gentlemen, and you are dragging that foot sideways across, which would generate a lot more heat in the foot, and in this metaphor, the tire itself as well.
Yeah, got to keep an eye out for that as a lapped car being negotiated there. That's Marie-Soleil Labelle, and she'll find her way to the back of that pack expediently, and will be able to catch a bit of slipstream, I think, off Andrew Hardman as well to try and keep herself in the running here. Marie currently running 35th and last of the cars currently running, but a clean race so far from her, which is the main point. Well, this battle for 6th, Matt Adams, race 1 winner, trying to hold on here. I expected Adams to work his way forward, but he hasn't done it quite as much as I thought he would. He has gone 4 positions up, but he still has a few more to get to the podium.
Well, certainly when you start up quite high in the grid, attrition becomes a lot more difficult. As you see there, Andrew Hardman and Zach Buchanan, these guys have definitely raced before. There is history here. As you see, the MTC Motorsports car, he's going to be on the outside for turn 1. Buchanan's going to be able to keep on the inside. Can Hardman give it a little bit of a switchback? Is he going to be able to make his move onto the inside? Buchanan making that radical as wide as he possibly can. And certainly this next section here, we have seen people go too wide there. It was Colander and McLean, and we can see just how well that worked. A little bit of contact ensued. Hardman able to keep it single file for now, though, and he's going to tag onto the back of that radical and try and slipstream ahead, potentially on the back straight.
Indeed. Also got to keep an eye out just behind George Griffiths, up 8 positions so far. He's getting harassed by Assad Nikadenbev, who we already saw have a little bit of an issue earlier on in this race, but there's a very interesting fight going on here. Richard Hibbs in the midst of it as well, who's on some kind of recovery drive at the moment. 9 positions down from where he started. Remember, he had that problem earlier, and Nikadenbev just catching the dirt on the exit of Oak Tree there. George Griffiths, I don't think, needed to break the slipstream all that much. Nikadenbev was already at a disadvantage, but he will keep himself in the running there, and 9th place remains his for the time being. Will 10th place remain Nikadenbev's? Not if Richard Hibbs has anything to say about it.
And you can see there, that's actually George Griffiths, who I believe has just tried to... No, my apologies. George Griffiths ahead, Nikadenbev in the middle, and then you got Richard Hibbs behind. I don't believe these guys are on the same team, just very similar coloured cars. You can see, yeah, Richard Hibbs is a privateer, and I do believe he actually designed some race control software as well. I believe that's Richard Hibbs. So certainly, you know, if that's your deal, you should reach out to that guy. Free plug for you there, Richard. But you can see there, these guys going into turn 1, you can see absolutely closing in on the Nikadenbev under the braking zone, but certainly there's different ways you can play it there. Certainly you can be a little bit closer in the braking zone, but it can mean it really compromises your exit speed. Now myself, I've always been a slow in, fast out kind of guy, but certainly sometimes to make the move, you've got to switch it up.
Yeah, it depends on the car. I mean, this Radical SR10 is a sports car through and through, produces quite a bit of downforce through its bodywork and under tray, and of course the big honking wing on the back of this thing. So you can carry a lot of speed into the corners to try and defend a position, and there's enough rotation in this car that you're able to keep the pace up through the corners. But VIR is definitely a track where you have to focus on exit speed through the slow corners, and one of the slowest of them all is right here at Oak Tree. Get on the power as early as you can. Use all the curb on the exit. Oh, yeah, Buchanan has tried his best here. Find his way through. Brady Clapham is actually recovering a position here, or attempting to at least. He backs out of it. At around this point on the previous lap, Clapham made a mistake. He went off into the grass at Roller Coaster, and then again at the exit of the final corner, so he's fallen all the way to the back of that pack.
Well, thankfully for him, he is still leading it in the amateur standings, but that gap is closing. Richard Hibbs just about 2 seconds back. George Griffiths in between him. Certainly, he's going to be wanting that car to stay there as long as possible. And you can see the gap right there. Look, there's Brady Clapham, and just 2 cars behind is Richard Hibbs, albeit with George Griffiths standing between him. So he's going to be very conscious of that. If I was in that 77 right now, I would be trying to absolutely throw a hook onto the back of the 40 machine of Zach Buchanan and just hope that he can pull me along with this pack and stay away from the potential issues behind him.
Yeah, indeed.
Oh, is that Ridgway?
Car stopped. Yes, it is. That's Robert Ridgway. He's fallen back quite a ways, and he's got some damage on the front end as well. I don't know exactly where he picked that up, but it evidently happened towards the end of the lap. He's way down on straight line speed as a result. Actually happened quite some time ago for Ridgway, so we'll see if he can hold on to this. Regardless, it's not good for him at the moment, down in 34th position. He's lost 21 places on his starting spot. Someone's lost a rear wing there.
Yeah.
Is that one of the Academy drivers?
It definitely is one of the Academy drivers, but I can't tell you where the wing is or whose wing it is.
It's Grace Hughes.
Oh dear. Well, Grace Hughes running a modified Radical in this class, and it's fair to say she's definitely going to be feeling the lack of downforce on the back end of that car. And you can see there, no fast repair offered, so certainly a modified version there, and I do wonder exactly how she lost that ring. You see Buchanan looking to make a move, doing everything he can to get out of the way there. And there's Brady Clapham as well, looking to get behind, a little bit backed up, and this is not what... Oh dear, Clapham, he's now under attack. Richard Hibbs is there. Is that Nikadenbev? Nikadenbev with a bit of a tank slapper there, manages to hold on to it. And you can see Rich Hibbs now, George Griffiths going side by side. Brady Clapham, that almost looked like a bump draft. Clapham nowhere to go. Are they going to make it 3 wide? Certainly from that camera angle, it looked like it would be a possibility.
Oh.
Griffiths has got off.
Oh, well, he manages to recover it, but he has lost tons of positions there again, and he's fallen back to 13th place. I just went back to see what happened to Grace Hughes. It happened all the way back on lap 4 at Oak Tree, and was actually contact with her fellow Academy driver, Ella Martin. Just got sent into the wall. So she's been driving with that compromised rear downforce for quite some time here, and she might spend a bit of time in the pits getting that repaired. We're seeing pit stops as well for a few drivers, Marshall Crocker Jr. and Cedric O'Hyan in the pits at the moment. And we've seen Kenton Young, Alex McLean, and Phil Nelles also come in for scheduled pit stops, I believe. Very short pit stop times happening here, around about the mark of anywhere from 10 to 15 seconds is what you're going to be expecting from a pit stop here. And these guys up the front are certainly going to want to think about that as well.
Well, we're keeping an eye on this battle right now because the amateur series has hottened up. Brady Clapham was in a very, very strong position earlier. He had a huge gap to his nearest competition, and now that gap has diminished as Richard Hibbs is looking to make a move, and he's got that move done. Nikadenbev looks like he's trying to make one as well. A little bit of buy one, get one free. Oh, that looked like contact then. What do you reckon, Reese? As Nikadenbev tries to follow him through.
Yeah, it was definitely contact. Nikadenbev just giving Clapham a little touch. It might have unsettled his rhythm a bit through this final section of the circuit. None of these guys coming in for a pit stop just yet. They're trying to get this stint extended as long as they can. Lapped car in the form of, I believe that's Kenton Young, who's lost his front bodywork there. Well, here we go. Trying around the outside of turn 1. Usually the outside isn't the worst place to be. You can straighten up the car earlier and get a better exit, and that's how Nikadenbev gets the move done.
Excellent move there by Nikadenbev. So now Brady Clapham is absolutely falling down. I mean, I say falling down, he's 2 positions back, and he has Diego Zuccarelli. That's that red car you can just see at the back of your picture. Depending on the camera angle, there you go. Diego Zuccarelli, ladies and gentlemen. But the Overtake 26 team, and looks like he's endorsed by, I'd say, the Maverick sunglasses there. Maybe he's a big Tom Cruise fan, but loving the eyewear there. As you can see there, he's also under a little bit of attack from John Bemberlid right behind him, and George Griffiths. That's where he's dropped back to after that little bit of an off-track excursion.
Yeah, well, actually, Zuccarelli fell outside the top 20, I think, after his incident on lap 1, his off of the racetrack. So it's actually been a fantastic recovery from him so far. He's managed to work his way back into on the verge of knocking on the top 10. Let's see what he can do from here. Further changes up ahead. Joey Haynes has just made his way into 5th place. Ozzy Milwain having to give up the place coming into roller coaster, and they're continuing to fight through that section as The number 26 of Zuccarelli stays ahead of Ben Valid and Griffiths. Gently does it. I'm still not seeing any takers to the pits in the top 10, but I've just seen one now. It looks like Zach Buchanan is going to be the one to pull the trigger.
That's quite interesting. It looks like somebody's followed him in as well, one of the Lima racing guys. Clapham's followed him. That's not a bad plan. And who's that behind him? I believe that's George Griffiths as well. So these guys all taking the early pit. You can see one of the Radical Academy cars getting them repairs done as well. And I got to admit, I do like the flashing lights. It really lets you know that that pit speed limiter is on. As you see the pit stop time there for Buchanan, 5.7 seconds, sorry, 8.8 seconds. It kept going, ladies and gentlemen. The person with the stopwatch had a little bit of a moment there as he is up and away. We'll keep an eye and we'll try and reference some more pit stop times for you throughout the race.
Yeah, the pit stop time does take a bit to update. I tend to avoid talking about the time until we have that final number. So yeah, that's in the ballpark of what we'd expect for pit stops there. Clapham's pit stop was 9.3 seconds, and we have a whole host of cars in the pits right now. Dudgeon, Covey, Payton, and Keenan Blades have also jumped into the lane too. Jean-Francois Larocque has unfortunately escaped back to the lane. I think there was a bit of an incident for him and some damage, and he couldn't make his way back, so might have joined our steadily growing retirements list from this race. I gotta say, once again, good on Cara Dudgeon for making up as many positions as she did in the first stint, but it's a very long pit stop for her. I think she might have sped in pit lane.
I've definitely been guilty of doing that before, but right now we're watching Andrew Hardman, and I believe that's Ozzy Milwain going hard at it. Joey Haynes just hanging in the background as all three of them dive into the pits, and certainly huge coordination there. That could have ended very, very badly. Nakadabev, I can see popping in behind. There's Zuccarelli as well.
The entire lead group.
I think that might be George Griffiths as well. Honestly, they came in so close together, I can't recognize the cars. Very, very busy pit lane right now. I believe that's Racine Fazui as well pulling away.
Yeah, indeed. Fazui's... Yeah. Fazui's pit stop already complete, and Griffiths has already taken his stop. He's halfway around the lap now, so that's definitely Richard Hibbs, I believe, in the blue car there. As there's some jostling about on pit lane exit. The quickest pit stop is basically a tie between Buchanan, Haynes, and Fazui, but Ozzy Milwain a 10th faster, 8.7 seconds in the box for the number 14, and he's come out in 3rd place. So now it's racing to the very end, 7 laps to go.
Well, now one of my favorite games times to start race. It's called Fuel Light Bingo, and is Ozzy Milwain going to be successful in this game? Certainly, back when I used to have to commute, I think it was like an hour and a half each way, about 150 kilometers. That makes it sound like I was really putting it down for a Mazda 2, but anyway, it's supposed to, anyway, it took me about 2 hours with the way that I went. That sounds a little bit more legal. Anyway, Mazda 2 is not going to be able to do much, but yeah, no, Fuel Light Bingo was a fun game in those days, and if I timed it correctly, coordinated correctly, I could get 2 full days of 150 kilometers each way. So 600 kilometers for 40 bucks. Those were the days, Reese. Those were the days.
Yeah, goodness me. Yeah, that's a very long time gone now, where fuel was a reasonable price. You know, it's an event here in Perth, Western Australia, when 91 unleaded is under $1.60 a litre. Regardless, we'll see that money is not a concern for these guys when it comes to fuel, and we'll keep the battle going between Ozzy Milwain and Andrew Hardman here for 3rd place. And Zach Buchanan right behind them. Remember, Buchanan pitted a lap earlier than these guys, so I don't know what the potential for the undercut is, but there is potential for a move here. Milwain and Hardman side by side into the first turn. No opportunity for a crisscross. Got to stick to the inside on the exit for the best line. Milwain's going to stay ahead.
Well, certainly, if you are Zachary Buchanan, you are going to be hoping very much that these guys keep fighting. As I see smoke ahead of him, actually. Is that somebody kicking up a little bit of dust?
A little lock-up, I think.
A little lot, okay, all right. And certainly the new debris system in iRacing, certainly it's been loved by some and caused rage potentially at other times, as it certainly it can catch you unaware. And myself, I've personally been enjoying it. It's been nothing but beneficial in terms of my position count, but certainly some of the other drivers in the iRacing service not quite as adapting quite as well to the new debris system.
Yeah, indeed. It's been a bit of a controversial addition in some ways, but I think it's really enhanced the simulation experience. It's always awesome to see gravel being thrown onto the racetrack in a much more dynamic way than it used to. Well, the battle continues here for third. Massive slipstream for Andrew Hardman on Ozzy Milwain, and the car ahead of them is the car that I believe locked up. It's Nick Polliard, who's emerged from the pits in 28th after a very long time out, and he's going to do a bit of lawn mowing himself, having a very rough race indeed. Polliard down 7 places at the moment, and I'm also seeing that Matt Adams did not emerge from the pits after he entered them. Our race 1 winner is now stuck in 27th place, and it looks like he might lose another spot if Polliard gets it. So, gently does it through the first couple of turns here. Hardman succeeding in getting past Ozzy Milwain, and Zach Buchanan right with them now. Buchanan will have to go for one more. I mean, he's going to have a couple more things to consider here when it comes to fuel. Pitting a little bit earlier, he would have had to put a bit more fuel in the car to get home, and he'll need to be very careful not to run out at the end. So we'll keep an eye on that as Richard Hibbs and Asad Nikadambev continue battling for 7th place. Hibbs, one of the drivers, on the recovery after an earlier mistake, and Nikadambev up 6 places after his late mistake in race 1. You see just how much he's soaring away at the wheel. Nikadambev is a karter, and so he certainly has that karting mentality when it comes to driving. He is working those front tyres as hard as he possibly can, but see if that translates into a good exit, Sippy.
Well, certainly he's given it everything he can to take that amateur lead away from Richard Hibbs. It's the 115 versus the 230, or the 115 versus the 230, as this has been a very popular place to pass. And actually, Nick Hardenbev backed out of that. I'm quite surprised, maybe looking to get a little bit of an over or under. Don't get me wrong, you can pass in this section of the track. No. It's gone, and Nick Hardenbev's just run over his right rear corner. Did Nick Hardenbev get damage from that? Hibbs certainly did. You can see there he is also now missing a rear wing, and well, the engine's still in there, but certainly a open concept car for the 115.
Yeah, the entire rear end is now gone for Rich Hibbs, and well, he's going to be losing a lot of time if he jumps back in for repairs. There's no mechanical black flag, so he doesn't have to come into the pits for damage. I think he's just going to stick this one out and continue on as is. Nikadambev, meanwhile, seems to have escaped the worst of it. I'm not seeing any damage on his car from that.
You wonder if it was perhaps a little bit in netcode, but I would expect that to affect both cars equally. And certainly, it looked like it was going well. Richard Hibbs, I think, did spin it under his own accord, in all fairness to Nikadambev. But you know, when you're racing that close as well, there wasn't really a lot he could do to avoid the additional contact there.
Yeah, not much else you could do. Well, the fight continuing between Milwain and Hardman for third. Jamie LeVay managed to get past them at some point and is now trying to chase down Racine Fazui for the lead, but there's a huge gap between first and second now. LeVay 7.2 seconds behind Fazui as the change is made again between Milwain and Hardman. Meanwhile, Cedric O'Hyan battling down here with Keenan Blades.
Well, I was just thinking Mark Boyd there is right ahead of him, so these guys may have actually encountered each other in the real world. Mark Boyd for Auto Eclectic Motorsports, he runs a race team of Radicals, and actually Cedric O'Hyan, he drives for Lima Racing as well. And I'm sorry or anybody, but has the most beautiful Radical. I think I was mentioning it last round as well. The most beautiful Radical. So it'll be interesting to see how these guys hold up. That gap was a little bit closer initially, but opened up a little bit there. Mark Boyd absolutely pulling away from O'Hyan in this scenario about a second, as we're going to head back to that battle for third place with Ozzy Milwain, Andrew Hardman, and Zach Buchanan.
Oh, Zuccarelli has found his way. Oh, hang on. It looked like the timing tower was just updating there. I thought there was some big incident for Nikadambev, but a little bit of shuffling there as we find our way through again to the third place fight, which is now definitely a three-way. George Griffiths looks like has had a problem. He's fallen down the order, down to 13th place now. So I'm not sure exactly what happened to him, but it looks like he's just continuing to have issues with the lack of rear end on his car. So got to keep an eye out for that. Regardless, Hardman trying to get the best exit from Oak Tree, and he's geared it up nicely for the run out of the corner. He'll definitely be in the slipstream of Milwain again, but how will Zach Buchanan play this? If I was in his position, I'd be looking at this happening in front of me and thinking, yeah, there's an opportunity for me to make a move, as the position is indeed gained by Hardman, but potentially a good idea to wait until the final lap to try and really stick my nose in there.
I don't know really how to approach that. Certainly, we've seen all three of these drivers have got incredible pace, and I think all three of them actually have been around at BIS since the very start as well. Certainly, I know I've raced all three of these guys. I say raced, I've tried to. They much more talent here between these three drivers than just me. I just want to make that point known. But you can see there, Milwain looking to make a move on the outside of all places. They head down around turn one. You can see Buchanan putting a nose in. I think this is going to work out well for Buchanan. Milwain may have actually sold himself a little bit short there, as Buchanan's looking to try and get a nose in on the inside of LeVay. Sorry, Hardman. My apologies, Hardman. It's a white car.
Indeed. The move is indeed made at NASCAR Bend, and oh dear, that's someone spun. Yeah, another white car.
Van Langevel. Or Kenton Young, sorry, Kenton Young.
Yeah, looks like it is Kenton Young who's still lost the front bodywork on that car. You can actually see the driver's body there, as, oh boy, a little bit of an interesting moment there, for it looked like it was Cara Dudgeon, in fact, who had to deal with a long pit stop, and the 305 is going to continue in 22nd place, still 11 spots gained from the previous race, so good on her. And there's the draft break now from Milwain. We're still actually coming up on the final lap now, Zippy, so this is the time that the drivers are really going to get their elbows out.
Oh, absolutely. And I'm actually surprised Buchanan hasn't tried to make a move yet. I thought he would have gone for it, but right now it really is a case of Hardman versus Milwain at this point. Buchanan, I don't see him as a driver who's going to sit back and hope for a free position. I don't see him doing that. He's much more assertive when it comes to, especially coming to these radicals here. As you can see, he's there in the slipstream. Is he going to get a good shot down there as they head to turn one? You can see Hardman's trying to make a move on the outside. You got Milwain on the inside. Now, this is exactly there. You go, Hardman. Oh, he's gone a bit in there, a little bit in the marbles, catches a bit of a wiggle, and he's fighting to keep that car under control.
Yeah, that might be one of the chances lost to go for a podium spot here, but there's still a chance if he can nail the exit out of the S's, pick up some slipstream off Milwain and Hardman, and then you've got the entire run from Oak Tree to Roller Coaster to work with too. But sometimes it's that one mistake that really sets you back.
Oh, certainly, and I do think at this point Buchanan's maybe a bit too far back, but I think Hardman, I'm wondering if he's played this very strategically on purpose. This is for the final podium spot in the main feature race, ladies and gentlemen. Certainly, you know, that podium, it's always got that extra bit of merit, hasn't it? Like, if you came fourth, it's kind of like, oh, you just missed it. And you see their lap traffic as well. That could be a factor, certainly more for Buchanan, indeed. Yeah, that's it. Buchanan's out of it. He said, look, no, you know what? He's looking for a flash. He wants to fly by, as this is going to be the final chance, I think, for Hardman to try and get that move done. And right now, he is ahead as they're heading up over the crest. You can see there, Milwain closing in. We saw this end badly for LeVay and for Zui earlier, and I thought for a second there Milwain was going to go off. Speaking of for Zui, he's there, takes the win, but we're going to go back to Hardman and Milwain, and I think Hardman's got the job done. Buchanan's a little bit further back. Hardman is going to hold. Oh, spicy.
It's a spicy meatball there for Ozzy Milwain, but not quite spicy enough for Zach Buchanan, who won't be able to get by at the end. And one of the last battles on track here, John Benvalid trying to catch up to Asad Nakadambev in the final few meters of the race, but it's not going to happen for him. Meanwhile, it's still on between Cedric O'Hyan and Keenan Blades. There might be an opportunity here for Blades to get into 17th.
Well, he is 100% in that slipstream, but you can see there is, I think, a little bit of lap traffic ahead as well. So if he's going to make a move, he's got to make it happen very, very quickly. As you can see there, the closing speed is absolutely huge. He's going to try and send it up initially up the inside, but then he's going to be on the outside. He will get a better angle. Not quite able to get it done using all of the curbing there. As you can see, O'Hien holds on for now.
Yeah, he does. Well, that's going to end things there. Coming out of Hogpen and through to the start-finish line they come. Last few cars on the lead lap. It was definitely an attrition race there. Only 19 of our 36 starters getting to the end of the race on the lead lap there. Well, Racine Fazui, it's going to be one race win from tonight from a driver who I think is used to taking both race wins on the trot, but man, it's going to spice things up for these final couple of rounds.
Absolutely, and we're going to get you the full results there in just a second. I can already see a couple of people heading into the interview booth. I see Fazui's there waiting. Diego Zuccarelli, he's in. I'm sure he's going to be feel very good about that. I also see Richard Hibbs trying to sneak in for an interview as well. But we're going to try and get these results to you in just a second here. But absolutely fantastic race, and VIR certainly did not disappoint.
No, certainly didn't. These are your results then. Racine Fazui and Jamie LeVay, 8 seconds separating them. Andrew Hardman, meanwhile, completing the podium. MTC Motorsports get 2 cars in the top 3 there. Nicely done. Ozzy Milwain, Zach Buchanan and Joey Haynes round out our top 6, and Diego Zuccarelli is going to take the AM class victory there. Actually, he was behind Nakadambev before the final lap, so there was some issue for Nakadambev that we unfortunately missed, but regardless, second place in AM for Nakadambev is nothing to sneeze at. Ben Millard completes the AM podium, and Rich Hibbs rounding out the top 10 with a damaged car.
As we have a look at 11th place, Marshall Crocker Jr., he came in leading the amateurs. We'll have to see how that stands afterwards. He's there in 11th with Richard Swindells in 12th. Freddie Clapham takes 13th. Actually, he dropped back a little bit there. With Robert Kobe there in 14th. Alex McLean, one of the Britannia iSports drivers, in 15th, ahead of Mark Boyd of Auto Eclectic Motorsports. He's there in 16th with Cedric O'Hien. I'm sure these guys have definitely raced together in real life in 17th. Keenan Blades takes 18th with Nicholas Calander in 19th with Chad Payton in 20th.
Indeed, 21st place, Cara Dudgeon, with Phil Nelles and Matthew Marlman finishing the last car's lap down. Ivan Langeveld 2 laps down, and then we had some really big troubles for the drivers further on back. Plenty of time spent in the pits for Nick Polliard, Marie-Soleil Labelle, George Griffiths, Kenton Young, Ella Martin, and Grace Hughes. That's your top 30. And then Robert Ridgway, unfortunately, retiring from the race. Same for Matt Adams and Jean-Francois Larocque. Josh Peters, Michael Broomhead, and Christian Gritzko were not able to make it very far into the race. In fact, Gritzko was out on the first lap. We didn't see Harry Sassi, Tyson Balbosa, or Corey Guedes make their way into the race to start with. So some varying fortunes here, Zippy, but we can move through to having chats to their drivers now.
Oh, absolutely. And I think the first person we're probably going to get in here is going to be the man, it's the one and only, it's Racine Fazui. Now, Racine, certainly race 1, had a little bit of a tangle there with LeVay. Tell us a little bit about how that went down.
Yeah, we talked about it. I was going for the lunge on the right side, going for that lane, and then I saw him move to the right. And of course, he had the corner, so I'm braking in a straight line. I'm almost shooting for the grass, as I can see, at least on my replay. I'm moving forward, shooting for the grass. It's just a bummer. I hope that he held his lane. It was a desperate move, but if you look at the replay, I wasn't trying to lunge it side by side. I still gauged my speed. So I think that if he had held his lane, there was more of a chance of me backing up, but also put that pressure on him, so that caused him to do that. So I'm definitely the instigator in it, but I don't know if there's a fault or a blame of some sort. One thing for sure is I have to go back and look at the curves of this track or something, because I picked up damage on race 1 and I absolutely don't know where front end damage, but I don't recall touching nobody's bumper. So that really hindered me in the second half of race 1. I was getting really pressured by close attacks, and I thought something's wrong with me with our throttle pedal, everything, and I look back at the replay and my fender's bent. But no, very great race by Jamie. I didn't want it to end this way. Uh, it's tough, hard-fought racing. And then race 2 happened. I was a little bit more chill in race 2, just pacing myself. Once I got through traffic, I saw that the gap was increasing, so I was more lenient on the pit stop and just finish the job and bring it home.
Well, it was an absolutely fantastic drive, and it's good to see a huge shout out to LeVay as well for giving you such a challenge there. But Rasim, as we head into our next round, it's going to be Barber Motorsports Park. How do you feel about that track?
I feel sad because I'm not going to be there. That's going to be one of my
Oh,
drops because I'll be testing at a track. I don't know if I can say that I'll be testing, so I'm not going to say anything. I'm not even going to say what I'm going to do because I don't know if it's secret or not because of competition.
Too late.
Yeah, but at least you guys don't know if I'm engineering or driving or coaching or nobody knows anything. And then once it's official, I'll make it official. So yeah, so I won't be there. So that's why also the move into race 1. I mean, I love Ayrton Senna as a driver, but sometimes I gotta think championship and not go for every gap that I have. Because I think I'm still a race car driver at the end of the day. But if everybody asks me about this move, I'll just quote Ayrton Senna to kind of have the easy way out. That's like my exit door. If you no longer go for a gap that exists, no, if you don't go for a gap that exists, you're no longer a race car driver. But that gap almost didn't exist. And like I said, I don't. I hoped Jamie to hold the left side. I was gonna back out of it. Halfway in between, I was breaking a straight line more than anything. I'm just sad that I hit him. So I'll apologize for that.
well, that's good to see the sportsmanship, and that it's certainly not going to be a bitter taste. But sort of like you say about going for the gap, well, there will be a gap next week. Well, next round without you on the rig, and certainly, if you do get permission to let us know what you're up to, please let me know. And if you've got any marketing material, I'll be happy to kind of promote you as a BIS competitor who's having action there in the real world of the racing series. So, ladies and gentlemen, that is well, you did networking out from as well in race 1, but certainly race 2. Another win. So congratulations, Rasim Fazui, and keep leading the championship there. Well done.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. See you at Motorsport.
Yeah, lovely stuff there from Rasim Fazui. And the next driver that we will likely have a chat to is indeed the 444 of Jamie LeVay, who came away in second place in race 2. What was your perspective of that contact with Rasim in race 1, Jamie? You guys were certainly giving it to each other, and it seems like there was no hard feelings between the two of you. Looking at the chat.
Oh yeah, no hard feelings at all. We had a blast in the race leading up to that. Kept it clean all through there, and we're both giving each other room and racing hard at the same time. So that particular incident, I mean, it was the last lap. We were both going for it, and yeah, no hard feelings between either of us. Um, yeah, no hard feelings at all. Just glad we had a close battle. It was nice to actually give Rasim a bit of a run for his money for a change. He's had the run on us for the past few races, so I was just happy to be up there and giving him a bit of a battle.
Indeed, and you certainly tried to catch up to him in the dying stages of race 2. Couldn't quite get it done, but the pace was still very much there.
Yeah, he was mega through traffic, both getting through the grid inversion at the beginning of the race and then through lap traffic. He was pretty mega there. So I could kind of hold him with clean lap pace, but he'd kind of eke out a bit here and there consistently through the race, and then the gap got big enough that it was a matter of keeping things together and making sure I didn't make any silly mistakes and keep the P2.
VIR certainly smiled on you today. What about Barber Motorsports Park? Rasim's not going to be there next round, so it's a good opportunity to get some points up.
I mean, as much as I like racing with Racine, that's good news for everybody. No, that's going to be good. I mean, it'll open things wide up for people have a shot at the win. It's a really tight field behind him typically. So we'll see. I think that's going to be a good track for this car. A lot of cornering dependence, so it'll pay to get the practice laps in, and we'll see where we stand.
Yeah, indeed we will. Well, congratulations on your finishes, Jamie, and it was awesome to see you and Razim fighting hard out there, like almost like Senna and Prost here around VIR. And hopefully we'll catch you again at Barber in 2 weeks' time.
Yes, absolutely.
All right, Jamie LeVay there and the 444, and looks like we're going to be going to Andrew Hardman next, the last of our Pro Class podium here, Zippy.
Well, Andrew, certainly a BIS regular, and it's good to see you back here in the BIS Radical Canada. Oh my gosh, Radical Canada Cup! But I've got to say, what an absolutely fantastic battle we got to witness between yourself, Milwain, and Buchanan. Tell us a little bit about how that was from your point of view.
Yeah, it was certainly fun, and even before the pit stop with Joey Haynes as well, it was good dogfight, really. This track is awesome for having big drafting zones and then side by side. I guess you can go side by side through a bunch of corners, so that made it easy to race. I was trying to sort of avoid slowing down too much because I saw that Zach was close behind Ozzy and I. But yeah, really, really fun. Awesome racing with Ozzy as always. He's a really good driver, great to race with. He's clean. So yeah, it felt like old times. Joey Haynes and Ozzy and I have been racing for multiple years. So it was great.
Well, you could certainly see a good amount of respect out there on the track, but an absolutely fantastic result. But Andrew, before we let you go, tell us very quickly about how you feel about Barber for the next round of the Radical Canada Cup.
I think Barber is my all-time favorite track in iRacing. So really looking forward to that one. Had some good runs in other BIS leagues. I think in the IndyCar league, I did really well at Barber. So looking forward to that one for sure.
Well, honestly, of all the things I expected to hear, Barber Motorsports Park being somebody's favorite track was not one of them. It's certainly not on my Princess approved list. But again, congratulations there to Andrew Hardman, third place in the main feature. Well done.
Cheers, guys. Thanks.
That's Andrew Hardman there, and finally we're chat to our AM class winner in race 2, Diego Zuccarelli. It was a bit of an up and down night for you, Diego, but coming away with the silverware there in the second race.
Yeah, you said it right. Not only on track was was a roller coaster, but also in the standings. I managed to make my life more complicated as usual, but just a little less than the last couple of races. So thankfully, I find a way back. But yeah, it wasn't easy, but it was a lot of fun. I love this track.
Yeah, many people do. It's a fantastic circuit, and I mean the AM battle was very intense. We had some incredible close racing here, and the slipstream was incredibly strong too.
Yeah, we were just talking in the lobby, like both like front straight and back straight really had a lot of draft that you could use. Same as through the snake, like you really like almost bump into the car in front, but of course there it's hard to find some room. But yeah, like back straight and front straight were good. If you manage to be positioned behind some fast guys, you could just use them to like raise your pace easily 3-4 tenths.
Well, that's going to be the way things worked out at VIR, and Barber, I think, is going to be a bit less slipstream dependent. So we wish you the best of luck in 2 weeks' time, Diego. Hopefully get a chance to speak to you again.
Likewise, anytime. Thank you.
Number 26, Diego Zuccarelli there. Finishing off our driver interviews for tonight, Zippy, and that's going to conclude the 5th round of the BiS Radical Cup Canada for 2024 and 25. As we've been saying, in 2 weeks' time we go to Barber Motorsport Park for the next round. Really looking forward to that, a modern classic.
Oh, certainly, it seems to be a track you are a lot more familiar than myself, and that's completely okay. My time will come indeed, Reese. But it's been an absolute pleasure here in the booth today. Myself, Daniel, I'm forgetting my own name. Daniel Zippy Salmon and my colleague here, Reese Southport Racer Gardner, and at the directing controls, yet again, camera shy, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know why, he's this absolute stud, but Christian Hill. But ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for joining into Pit Road Productions. And again, huge thank you to our sponsors as well, FEL, M-Zone, obviously Radical Canada as well. We couldn't do it without you. And to all you guys watching at home, guys, girls, everybody, and be sure to catch us next week. We're going to have the BIS F1600 Championship is going to make a return before we head back for the Radicals. Actually, speaking of which as well, we're going to have a show this Friday as well, so you want to keep an eye out. Friday, 8:50 Eastern, we're going to have an F1200 series kicking off. We're going to be about one race a month. But ladies and gentlemen, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you very much for tuning in, and we'll see you next time here on Pit Road Productions.